Is Zack Snyder's Justice League any good? Yes, oh my god, yes, go watch it right now. Now, do it. There are many points I could start off on that what makes Snyder's Justice League a great film and an infinitely better version than the 2017 original. However, the most impactful difference that comes to mind for me is the greater approach to the villain, or really villains. I'm not giving away anything vital about the story, especially if you've already seen the original cut, and when I show you this scene. In the first film, Steppenwolf is the only big bad guy that the heroes have to fight off. He comes out of nowhere to steal something we don't give a fuck about to inevitably take over the world. Originally, we get his backstory about how he attempted to invade Earth but was repelled by the united forces of humans, Atlanteans, and the Amazons, but I guess he comes back for revenge because he's butthurt. However, in the Snyder Cut, it isn't Steppenwolf who attacks Earth, but the DCEU's equivalent to the Mad Titan Thanos, the new Mad Titan, Darkseid. The scene more or less plays out the same way, except it explains the actual purpose of the film's MacGuffin, the mother boxes. It goes into more detail, much cooler battle scene, why we should care about the mother boxes, as well as setting up a few interesting storylines that I won't spoil. Snyder then does the unthinkable to the original film. Gives Steppenwolf some goddamn character development. He went from a boring, uninteresting CGI big bad to a flawed monster seeking redemption for betraying his master Darkseid. Making Steppenwolf Darkseid's underling reminded me a lot of Loki to Thanos in the original Avengers movie, but with a bit less Tom Hiddleston badassery and more I will slaughter anything that gets in my way to be accepted by my people again. This arc really makes up for the fact that Steppenwolf himself is not that interesting a character. He's basically a warm-up for our band of heroes before Darkseid's return, and that is really good because it lays the groundwork for a more expansive cinematic universe, which is one of the main complaints leveled towards the DCEU right now. By now you probably know that the new Justice League is 4 hours long. Compared to the majority of films, that is exceptionally long, yet as someone who binged the entire film in one go, the pacing of the film is perfect and needed. DC films have always tried to rival Marvel, from rushing into Batman v Superman without fleshing out their Batman, to throwing every hero together into the original Justice League cut, without giving the franchise the time to grow and develop their characters. So, the Snyder Cut, with its mammoth 4-hour runtime, largely fixes these flaws. The original film really ran through these new characters, introducing us to the Flash, Cyborg, and Aquaman within the first 40 minutes, yet we had no real time to learn about these characters or care about them, other than the few brief lines of exposition they delivered. While the Snyder Cut can't do the justice of giving these characters in their own movies, like Marvel did with both Captain America and Thor before Avengers, the film spent significantly more time with them and we get to know their backstory and what they are like. With The Flash, we learn about his lifelong motivation to exonerate his father from a life sentence for murdering his mother, which he didn't commit. We see his unwavering determination to prove himself, which reoccurs throughout the film. We even spend more time with the actual actor, Ezra Miller, who really brings the character of Barry Allen into its own light to really differentiate himself from Grant Gustin's Flash on the CW. Cyborg was criminally underdeveloped in the Whedon cut. Now we get to fully understand the tense dynamic between him and his father and empathise with the struggle for acceptance in his new form. The extensive runtime gives us the chance to connect with these characters. If we didn't know Captain America or Iron Man, or if they had just introduced Black Widow in Avengers without developing her like they did in Iron Man 2, we wouldn't be as engaged with the film. As a final note on the runtime, if you require breaks during long films like this or The Irishman, Justice League is cleverly divided into parts so you can watch the whole film as a mini-series, if you wish, making the film more digestible to the average viewer. Justice League differs greatly from the standard superhero film we usually see nowadays. Even compared with the original cut of the film, it is much more violent and bloody, and it's fucking awesome. Snyder originally, with the DCEU, wanted to separate the franchise from the light-hearted, more family-friendly world of Marvel movies, and created films with intense tones and colours. By making Justice League that bit more brutal when compared with Marvel, it really makes the film stand out, and it helps define the universe and the characters, and this helps us take these stories seriously. It makes the Justice League stand out as a genuine competitor to the MCU, rather than a cheap imitation of Avengers like the original cut of the film was. Even down to the sense of humour in the film. The original Justice League had really cheesy puns and deprecating humour.
Dostoevsky.
This works in the MCU because of the lighter tone and of the franchise and of the characters themselves. But the DCEU was not set up that way. The universe was made to be dark and serious, so the characters were initially developed that way. You can make an Avengers-style Justice League, but you have to put in the groundwork to set up the franchise that way. The original humour just made the Flash come across as obnoxious and belittled Aquaman, making a character with an already bad rap viewed even worse.
Honestly, I think we're all gonna be dead way before that. And you know what? I don't mind. It's an honorable end. But we gotta shut Steppenwolf down. Superman's a no-show. You got no powers, no offense. This guy might be working for the enemy, we don't know. You're tripping over your feet and mine. Oof. You're gorgeous and fierce and strong and I know we went to war with the Amazons, but that was before my time. And you know what? I don't want to die. I'm young. There's shit that I want to do. I just feel like I never really embraced the sea or the land. I've been a loner my whole life, but being part of something bigger like this, maybe I'm scared because I'm meant to.
I think that was beautiful.
How's Victor doing?
You know, want to be by himself.
We're asking a kid who just lost his father to go up against the most powerful machines in the universe. It's not fair.
I thought you didn't care.
I never said that.
Whereas the Snyder Cut does feature one-liners and humour, but it fits the tone of the scenes and characters. The Flash is likeable, and Alfred is really the comic relief of the film, and he's genuinely funny. Zach Snyder has a distinctive style when it comes to cinematography, lighting and CGI, and if you don't like that in his other movies, you probably won't like it here. He does have a obsessive fetish for slow-mo, and in some scenes it really works, and in others it tends to be a little overdone, especially in movies like 300 when it's done greatly, but I personally really enjoy it. I think the film is really beautifully shot, it's interesting, the shots are impactful and have a lot of meaning. The CGI is really high quality, and there are some few funny looking moments, but the detail is so well done that it overshadows any flaws. Now for the more interesting design choice of the film. Snyder's choice to keep the film in 4:3 aspect ratio. I understand that this was done to stick to Snyder's creative vision, and it's definitely interesting, but personally I'm not really sure I like it. But it doesn't detract from the quality and enjoyment of the film, and when you're watching it you do tend to forget that you're watching it in a different format than what you're used to, so I won't take marks off it for that. So not only does the film take its time to establish its existing characters and flesh them out, it introduces new ones. I won't spoil it if you intend to watch it, but this film sets up so much for future films and possibilities that really make me excited for the future of the DCEU. Honestly, I thought the franchise was dead in the water after the original Justice League cut. The flop of Wonder Woman 1984 and the excitement around the new Robert Pattinson Batman film coming out in a few months, it seemed that the DC film universe was moving on. But the Snyder Cut really gives me hope for more interesting stories to be told in this current universe and with the future films to come. I won't address the impact of fan petitioning for the release of the Snyder Cut or the possibility of Snyder being brought back to create his vision of the Justice League franchise, because I honestly don't know enough about it, and it can be a bit of a controversial topic, so I'd rather avoid that topic altogether. But there clearly is a huge fan base who is excited for the future of the series, like me, and it's definitely renewed my hope in the franchise. So is the Snyder Cut of Justice League any good? Absolutely. For me, it personally was one of the best films I've watched in the last few months, and it's definitely better than most of the films in the MCU. Do yourself a favour and watch it, especially if you saw Justice League originally when it came out in 2017. My final rating for Zack Snyder's Justice League is a Zuko redemption arc out of 10.
Dostoevsky.